Good morning, people. Morning. Wednesday, May 22nd. Big day today, hump day. And we've got a lot more news coming out, but will that result in volume this morning? We could see a slower start to the day yet again. As last I checked on the S&P 500, we have 97,000 contracts traded. This is bad. Yesterday was the lowest day in 7 years in terms of volume on the SPY, and I think on the futures on the S&P, that we're trading as if it were a holiday, right? As if we are half-day closure on the markets. So tough, right? That's a very, very low volume, low volatility environment. And these are types of trading environment, assets that force traders to overtrade just to compensate for that lack of opportunity, larger size, and end up doing very stupid things. So as we get into this, as we get closer and closer to the end of the week, we're expecting to see lower and lower volumes into Monday's market closure. So go with it slowly, right? Progress slowly, and we'll go from there. It was a holiday in Europe yesterday. What holiday? Yesterday? Now I'm interested. I'm in Europe. So today we have FOMC meeting minutes, which in the afternoon should spark a little more volume and volatility. NVIDIA also has earnings at the end of the bell today, or at the end of the day after the bell, which is going to spark a lot more movement into the after hours. So today is a chance to see the markets actually push to the downside, right? Today, this low volume, blah, 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 we have FOMC meeting minutes. I think this is their chance. I'm not saying I'm going crazy on the sell side. I think that realistically, this is going to be a chance before we pick this thing up for Thursday and Friday. I think NVIDIA is going to help out markets actually get that boost into the end of the week, and I'm going to be bullish into the end of the week, and it would be great to see some kind of significant pullback to pick up better longs, new longs. So let's talk about this a little more. So we'll be taking a look at the FOMC meeting minutes that come in the afternoon at 2 p.m. today. That should spark a little more movement. They're going to be just like reiterating some of the stuff that they talked about in the last meeting, that we had no rate cut changes. We'll see a lot of Fed speakers were on yesterday. We'll see maybe some talks about the monetary policy and inflation with the softer inflation print that we saw most recently. So I'm going to be looking for some kind of moves into the afternoon, but leading into that is probably going to be kind of slow, realistically. So when we're looking at this, right, someone asked what's the difference between the FOMC meeting minutes and the FOMC, meeting itself. The meeting minutes are generally a breakdown of what they had talked in the prior meeting, right? The 2-day event that was, I think at the beginning of the month, if I'm not mistaken, May 1st. Like, the meetings themselves, they decide on changes in the funds rate, right? In the meeting minutes, there's no changes to the funds rate. There's reiteration. It's a prepared statement. Jerome Powell doesn't come on with a Q&A, right? It's more of a live action thing when you see the actual FOMC rate decisions and those meetings themselves that are generally on a month-to-month basis, if not like every other month, but they're generally on a month-to-month basis. So we'll be seeing a reiteration of what they had talked about, probably some talk in the prepared statement from the inflation data that we've recently seen, and from that I expect a little more volatility and movement into the afternoon. Then at the end of the day, after the bell, comes NVIDIA. Everyone has their eyes on NVIDIA. NVIDIA most recently traded at 760 and has rallied $200 since that last move to the downside that happened at late April, early May. So everyone is going to be looking at the front and center of the AI revolution that will capture the camera this afternoon. Many making bets before the release of NVIDIA earnings after the bell. It's one of the most talked about stocks in the financial world. We've seen it like multiple X grow over the past year in itself, right? Not year to date, it's massively expanded as well, right? It's gone 2x, it's gone 100%, but even from November lows from last year, right? It's a lot, it's up a lot. So huge progress in this, as this is the center of AI. So the company is helping to build out all the infrastructure needed to power generative AI, artificial intelligence, selling advanced processors to all tech bigwigs that are splashing out hardware like it's 1990. So getting all this infrastructure in place will likely take several years, meaning that NVIDIA is still primed for exponential growth. At least that's what the expectations look like. So the potential has excited investors who have sent the stock soaring since last year. Shares just hit a new fresh all-time high on Tuesday. Actually, no, that's not true. The last all-time high is here from March 8th. Did they trade above that? No, so they haven't hit a new all-time high, but with with expected earnings coming out after the bell, they probably will. So it's up over 550% since the beginning of 2023. Right? We take a look at what happened on NVIDIA into the beginning of 2023. This thing was trading down at like 140 something bucks. It's up 500%. It's up 6x. That's insane, right? So when we look at this, it's very, very heavily traded. It's very popular in terms of volume and whatnot. So NVIDIA's consensus earnings per share estimates for Q1 comes in at $5.58, right? $5.58, which is a 400% year-over-year growth with a revenue forecast of $24.6 billion, which is up 242% year-over-year, right? Up $7.2 billion from the prior year. That's a staggering difference, with the AI darling making nearly as much revenue per quarter as it used to on an annual basis. So if there is any guide to how shares will trade after earnings, keep an eye on the forward guidance, obviously, accompanying commentary, and the outlook of artificial intelligence and the boom. So the options market is pricing in an 8% move either way on the earnings. After the last earnings, NVIDIA soared 24% in the last Q1 report. The firm is also now the third biggest company in the U.S. by market cap with a valuation of $2.3 trillion, meaning that the influence extends to broader indices like NASDAQ, the S&P as well. In the NASDAQ, it's weighing in at 6.5%, so this is going to move the NASDAQ after hours for sure, regardless of what happens. If we take an expected move about 8%, it's probably going to be more realistically. That puts us at a fresh new all-time high, trading over 1,030. If we drop about 8%, from where we're trading right now, that puts us at 880. I don't necessarily think that this is going to go to the downside. I have no bets on it, but I don't see these NVIDIA earnings really succumbing to some kind of downside press. It's weighing in at 5% on the S&P 500. So this is a key in terms of the next pivotal move in the S&P, as we've rallied into new all-time highs yesterday into the close and on the overnight session, if I'm mistaken. So we'll take a look at how this pans out, but realistically what I'm looking for is today is going to be the day before NVIDIA earnings come out that the sellers have any opportunity to take this a little lower before new and heavy buyers step into this market and pump this up into the end of the week. I'm going bullish from Thursday and Friday realistically. I just would like to see a pullback that allows for heavier buyers to step in and not this low volume nonsense. So on the S&P 500 futures, if we actually break well below that 53.35, that creates the opportunity for the sell side. I don't want to be like guessworking where the highs are going to be on this. I'd rather just structural moves and imbalances break to the downside for me to confirm this move. So that's what I'll be watching. I'll see if it breaks. If it doesn't, okay, big deal. But with this incredibly low volume coming into the open, I have a very little desire to trade this right now into the morning session. So keep that in mind as we're trading these very low volume and low volatility markets going into a long weekend in the U.S. Big weekend. A lot of Wall Street is probably already in the Hamptons, Cabo, just scratching their butts over there and not looking at these markets. We got the little noobs like us trying to trade them. These retail crowd, and it's not something that you want to fight into. Look at markets that have more moves like NASDAQ potentially. But you don't want to get too aggressive. Decrease the size. You're in this to survive. You're not in this to overcompensate, right, with the larger moves. So when the market's moving, when there's more volume and volatility, that's when you jump into it. That's when you have more trades, more size, more opportunity, and you take advantage of it. Right now, you just try to maybe 1-2 trades, survive, and move on, right? That's all you need to do. You don't need to trade every single day if the opportunity is not there. When you force trades, it turns to shit very quickly. So I'll be opening a live trading room. We had one trade on the ES yesterday, long 23.24. That rallied into like 37.38. That was it, right? That was my morning trade, and then I didn't do shit into the afternoon. So let's look at this. let's jump into our live trading room, and I'll see you guys in there. We'll see how everything wraps up this afternoon. There's a bond auction as well, and then we'll discuss this tomorrow in our live update. So check us out there. Check out community.tradeproacademy.com, and I'll see you guys later. Hello, Ian. Hope you're doing well. And everyone else, Rainer's Flow, appreciate the commentary, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's session as we've seen NVIDIA report earnings. So thank you guys, and we'll do this again tomorrow. Am I expecting big moves from the FOMC meeting minutes? Not necessarily. More than what we'll see this morning. But this whole week, honestly, I'm looking for 1-2 trades a day and just leaving. I don't expect much out of this. Thank you guys. Take care. And we'll do it again tomorrow.